If you've played around with local AI recently, you've probably noticed they're basically all just chatbots. You type a question, it spits out text, and then you still have to copy-paste it and do the actual work yourself. But what if your AI wasn't stuck inside a chat window? What if it could actually execute tasks like writing and running its own code, organizing your messy files, or browsing the web to do your research? In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a completely free autonomous AI agent called Hermes, running entirely locally on your own hardware. Since we don't want an AI accidentally deleting your personal files, we put it inside a secure Docker container. It thinks it has full system access, but it's actually trapped in its own isolated environment. By the end of this video, you'll have your own digital employee. Let's break down exactly how this whole thing works. So what is Hermes? Put simply, it's a background worker for your computer. With a normal AI, you ask a question and get a box of text. If you want to sort files or write a script, you'll still have to do all the clicking, copying, and pasting yourself. Hermes skips that step. It allows the AI to use basic computer tools. It can open a web browser to read sites, create folders on your hard drive, and run commands in the terminal. Instead of giving you instructions on how to do the task, it just does the task. But the main reason people use it is memory. Most AI tools are like a whiteboard. Every time you close the chat, the board is wiped clean. You have to re-explain your workflow and what you are doing every single day. Hermes is a notebook that never closes. While you talk to it, it quietly takes notes on how you like to work and saves them. And when it spends time figuring out complicated problems, it doesn't just forget the steps. It saves that exact workflow as a permanent tool on your hard drive. It never has to figure out the same thing twice. This means the agent gets faster and more useful the longer you use it. Here is exactly what that looks like. Before we get to the examples, if you just want to install this right now, skip to the timestamp on the screen. Let's look at how it learns. Here is a workspace folder with a bunch of unorganized files. Instead of sorting this manually, I'll just give Hermes this prompt. Look at all the files inside this workspace, create 3 subfolders, documents, images, and code, move each file into the correct subfolder based on its extension, and create a clean report.md listing what you moved. It handles all the logic in the background and physically moves the files where they belong. To avoid typing the prompt again, I will tell it, save this exact folder sorting workflow as a permanent skill. Call the skill Digital Janitor. Hermes takes those steps and create a new skill file on the drive. So next time this folder fills up, I don't need to write out the rules again. I just type run the Digital Janitor skill on the workspace folder. It loads the skill and sorts the folder. Now let's see how it handles web browsing. Most AI bots can't read websites because they instantly get blocked by security checks like Cloudflare. But Hermes lets you plug specific tools for the job. Here I've connected SearXNG for private searching and CamoFox, which is a stealth browser designed to bypass bot checkers. I'll ask it to go to GitHub trending and find the top project today. It opens CamoFox, reads the live page, and gives us the exact data in the terminal. Now let's give it a complex task where it has to figure out how to chain these tools together. Navigate to theverge.com/tech and summarize the top article in 2 sentences. Take a screenshot of this page. After taking the screenshot, use your terminal tool to find the newest image in workspace raw screenshots, copy it directly into the workspace folder and rename it to new article.png. Once it understands the prompt, it takes over and just uses whichever tools it needs until the job is completely done. I open my folder and the picture is exactly where I asked. It navigated the web and managed the local files entirely on its own. So here is the step-by-step process to get this exact setup running on your machine. Before we start the installation, make sure your system can handle this. I'm running this on 16 GB of RAM and an 8 GB VRAM. You need similar specs to ensure the AI has enough memory to think and act efficiently. First, open your terminal. Paste this update command and press enter just to make sure your system is up to date. Next, install Git and curl. The Hermes installer usually handles this, but doing this now ensures we don't hit any errors later. Next, run this curl command to install Docker. This is what creates the secure, isolated environment for the AI to work inside. Once that finishes, run this user mod command. This just tells your computer that your user account is allowed to control Docker, so you don't have to type sudo for every single command later. After running that, you must completely reboot your computer, or those permissions won't actually take effect and Docker will throw errors. Now that we are back, we install LM Studio, which is the AI's brain. We use this single command to download the app, install it, and immediately delete the trash file so it doesn't waste disk space. Open LM Studio. On the welcome screen, click Get Started, and make sure to turn on both developer mode and add LMS to path. If it asks to auto-download model for you, just skip it. Go to the Models tab on the left. I'm using Gemma 4E4B for this setup. You can experiment here, but if you have more powerful GPU, I highly recommend using Qwen 3.6 27B or Gemma 4 31B for much smarter AI. Once it downloads, head back to the main chat window. At the top, click Select a model to load or press Ctrl L. Hold the Alt key on your keyboard and click your model. This opens a new window with the model settings. At the bottom of this window, check the toggle that says Show Advanced Settings. Change the context length to exactly 64,000. Hermes requires a minimum of 64,000 context window to work, so do not skip this. Then change max concurrent predictions to 1. Enable both K and V cache quantization, changing them to Q8. This drastically reduces the amount of RAM needed to handle that big 64,000 memory window. If you try a different model later and the specific settings give you errors, just disable it, but be aware it uses up a lot of RAM. Check the box to remember these settings for the model and click Load Model. Finally, go to the Developer tab on the left and make sure the server toggle is set to on. This opens the connection so Hermes can talk to LM Studio. Now we need to build the privacy stack. If you try to use normal AI bots to read websites, they instantly get blocked by security checks like Cloudflare. We bypass that by running our own private search engine called SearXNG and a stealth browser called CamoFox. Let's set up the search engine first. Run this make dir command to create a folder for SearXNG. Then run this nano command to open the Docker Compose file. Just paste the configuration block from my written guide, save the file, and run this Docker Compose command to launch it. Next, run this nano command to open the settings file. Press Ctrl W, type formats, and hit enter to jump straight to that section. Add -JSON right underneath the -HTML line. Hermes needs the search result formatted at JSON data so it can actually read and process them. Run this docker restart command and your search engine is fully operational. Next up is CamoFox. This is the anti-detect browser that reads the web like a human. Run this make dir command to create the CamoFox folders. Next, run this chown command to fix the folder permissions so the browser is allowed to save files directly to your drive. Just like before, run this nano command to open the compose file. Paste the config from the guide, save the file, and run this docker compose command to launch it. We actually enabled a live VNC feed by default. If you go to localhost:6080 in your normal browser, you can literally watch the AI clicking around in real time. But if you want to save some RAM, you can always turn this off inside the docker compose file. Now it's time to install the Hermes agent itself. Run this apt install command to get a few required tools like ripgrep and ffmpeg, along with a very simple text editor called Micro. Next, we should update the system path. Depending on your Linux distro, your computer might not know where Hermes is installed. Run this just to be safe. Run this echo command to add the local bin folder to your path, and run the source command so it takes effect immediately. Now run the official Hermes install script. The wizard is straightforward. Choose Quick Setup, select LM Studio as your provider, press enter to skip both the API key and base URL, and pick the model we configured earlier. For the sandbox, make sure to select Docker isolated container, press enter for the default Docker image, select yes to persist the file system, assign your CPU cores and RAM limits, accept the default disk limit, and select skip for the gateway. Run the source CamoFox command to reload your shell one last time, and the core app is officially installed. Now let's configure the secure sandbox. Run this make-dir command to create your main workspace and a dedicated folder for browser screenshots. Run this micro command to open the Hermes configuration file. Press Ctrl F to open the search bar and go to the terminal section near the top. Change CWD to /workspace, then go down and look for Docker volumes and add those two volumes there. Right below that, change Docker run as host user to true and change lifetime seconds to 3600. Just below that is the web section. Add browser to the extract backend field and finally search for the CamoFox browser section. Set your user ID and section key to something simple like Hermes and Hermes123. This is required so the AI can authenticate and take screenshots. Press Ctrl S to save and Ctrl Q to quit out of micro. One last step, run this micro command to open the hidden .env file, add the local URLs for SearXNG and CamoFox, and paste those exact same credentials here. Save and quit out of micro. Your agent is officially built, secured, and ready to go. Let's fire it up and see what it can actually do. To run Hermes in the terminal, just type the Hermes command. Now we are finally inside the Hermes chat interface. Let's test the system. For the first test, I want to make sure it has access to my hard drive. I will write this prompt: create a new text file called text.txt and write a short one-sentence joke about Linux inside it. Watch the terminal logs as it handles the prompt and executes the task. I open my workspace folder and the text file is sitting right here. Next, let's test the privacy stack. I will use this prompt: search the web for the official Arch Linux homepage, then use your browser tool to navigate to it and give me a 2-sentence summary of the latest news. It queries SearXNG to find the URL, opens the CamoFox stealth browser, reads the live page, and drops the summary right back into the chat. Now let's push it further with a vision test. I'll give it this prompt: go to archlinux.org, take a screenshot, and use your terminal tool to copy it into our main workspace folder as archlinux.org.png. It authenticates with the browser, snaps the picture, and drops the file right onto the drive. Finally, let's test the security boundary. I want to verify that the AI doesn't have access to my actual personal files. I will type this prompt: use your terminal tool to run ls-la/home and tell me exactly what it outputs. Look at the terminal output. Instead of showing my real Linux username, it shows an isolated directory belonging to a generic username pn. This proves the Docker sandbox is working exactly as intended. The AI is isolated, keeping your actual computer safe. And by the way, you can run the Hermes dashboard by opening a new tab and running Hermes dashboard. This opens a web UI where you can manage your chats, configure skills, and monitor your agent visually. That covers the core installation. I left a link to the full written guide in the description. It includes the setup for the Telegram gateway, which lets you securely text your agent from your phone. You'll also find a troubleshooting section for common setup errors and a clean uninstall guide if you ever need to completely remove the software from your system. We only covered a few core features today, but Hermes has a lot of advanced features that I didn't touch in this video. You can check the official documentation to see everything it has to offer. You now have a fully autonomous local digital employee. The only question is, what permanent skill are you going to teach it? If this guide helped you out, leave a like. Check out my other self-hosted AI videos on the screen right now, and thanks for watching.